Okay, good morning, good afternoon, colleagues. I think we'll make a start now, and obviously other participants will join as we're going. So yeah, good morning or good afternoon from wherever you're joining us today, and welcome to the last day in the MENA regional webinar series on the QA/QC, inventory work plans, and data management. So this, as I said, is the final day of the series after on the first day focusing on QA/QC. Yesterday, we focused a little bit on the inventory work plans, and today we're going to be looking at data management and gaps. One second. So yeah, the overall objectives and aims for today's session are just on the screen here. So overall, what we really want to do is enhance the participants' skills and knowledge in the greenhouse gas inventory data management systems. So kind of looking at some of the institutional arrangements along with that, addressing data gaps and improving data flow within these systems. Overall, kind of looking to strengthen the presentation of the information and data that is presented in the BTRs and the national inventory document. Specifically, this was an area that, especially when the CBIT-GSP team were conducting the QA kind of quality checks, quality assurance checks, and that we noticed there was a lot of inconsistencies in the method in which countries were presenting the work that they were doing. So we think it's also really important to sort of look at these areas. We'll also have some experience sharing from our colleagues from Saudi Arabia. And overall, yeah, just looking to align these different aspects to the modalities, the MPGs, and overall just increase the quality of the information that you're presenting, whether it's data or whether the report itself within your greenhouse gas inventories. So just a brief look at the agenda today. Obviously, session one will be improving the presentation of the data for the national inventory using the CBIT-GSP template, which will be carried out by our colleague Fernando from UNFCCC. After that, we'll have a short time for any question and answers or discussions, which will be then followed by session two by Kaltoum, which will cover the institutional arrangements. I know a little bit was kind of touched on that yesterday, but Kaltoum will be going in more depth into the necessary systems and arrangements to allow for one, adherence to the MPGs, but also how they can be sustainable in ensuring kind of that data collection is kind of runs throughout all these processes, and the importance of establishing the arrangements and the roles and responsibilities to do that. And then, as I said, this will be followed by a country sharing experience by Saudi Arabia. So we have our colleagues Noura and Sarah on the call, and they're going to be talking us through Saudi Arabia's institutional arrangement and inventory system. This again will be followed up by a brief interaction and Q&A, and then we'll close out this third day of the webinar series with, again, a Mentimeter survey. So I'll hand over to my colleague, Fernando. Although first we'll do, a group photo, if that's okay. Let me just stop sharing so I can get everyone. Would everyone turn their cameras on, please, so I can get a nice picture of us all? Perfect. Some beautiful faces this morning. Maybe a few more. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, well, over to you now, Kaltoum. And thank you, everyone, again for joining us on this 3-day webinar series. I really hope that it has been beneficial, and please make sure to utilize the Arabic interpretation if that's preferable to you, and also utilize the question and answers tab within the Zoom page, just to be able to input any questions that you have as Fernando or Kaltoum are going through their presentations. Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Over to you,
much, Freya,
Fernando.
for opening the events. And yeah, Fernando, please, for the first session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Good morning, colleagues. My regards from Copenhagen. And following on the presentation of yesterday. Today I will present you a new material developed by the CBIT-GSP project aimed at improving the presentation of data from the national inventory in the BTR and the national inventory document. Okay. Well, as you are all aware, with the launch of the Enhanced Transparency Framework, all countries now must submit a first BTRs following the MPGs. And what is a national inventory report, which is the most important report in terms of the GHG inventory? This consists of a national inventory document, which is a document, and common reporting tables, which are a series of Excel tables that must be presented either as a part of a BTR or separately. We have seen that countries have followed both modalities, and some countries presented a separate national inventory documents, whereas others included a chapter 2 into the BTR. But at the end of the day, what we need is to have both, no, a document, a Word document, and a set of Excel files that will be posted and submitted to the UNFCCC. You all also must be aware that the MPGs require much information that before in the national communications to present data from the inventories. The requirements of the MPGs are several, so it's a situation of it's I would say it's easy to overlook some of the requirements and to miss some of the MPG requirements following the MPG considerations. So, taking into account this, under the CBIT-GSP project, we created a document that can serve as a template for the national teams to fill. It's in a Word format, so you can write on top of the document without any problems, and you can modify, you can delete, or you can add your own figures. The template includes a structure for the chapter with all the contents required by the MPGs. So if you follow this national inventory document template, you will be on the safe side to cover all the elements required by the MPGs. The, the template includes proposals of tables and graphs and other parts to fill, including flexibility provisions. In each section, it appears in a specific color which provision of the MPGs are covered. The idea is to have a document that covers all the possible options. So according to the national circumstances, if the country has less information, it's just delete the part that they don't have. But to make it very comprehensive, we finally got a document that is very long, 3 pages long, but it doesn't mean that it will be 3 pages your national inventory document. Maybe it will be more or it will be less. I mean, in practical terms, we have seen that the countries have reported from less than 200 pages up to 1,000 pages for the national inventory document. So there is a lot of variation between countries on the extent of the national inventory document. We have worked for more than 1 year in this template, and several counterparts reviewed the different draft. So we are very confident of the quality of the template. We worked with the UNFCCC, with the US EPA, with the GHG. All of them provided good suggestions and comments to the early versions of this template. In addition, we make some pilots with the template with some countries that were interested in using a template and to avoid creating their own chapters of the inventory. So Panama was keen on participating in this piloting, and actually from about 6 months ago there is a Spanish version already published on the web. In addition, we are planning to conduct a webinar in May, launching the English version, the version that I will show you at the end of my presentation. Please take into account also that our project CBIT-GSP offers support activities in the implementation of the template. So if countries are curious to how to better use this template, please count on us for some advice. In the first round of BTR, several Latin American countries used this template document for their official national inventory documents. On top of my mind, Ecuador, Colombia, Panama used this template, and they were quite satisfied with the quality of the final document they got based in our template. So I would say that it's been country proof, and in this regard, I think you can ask the countries how they are feeling using the template. I wanted just to give a quick visit to the document and present you first the list of chapters that are included into the template. We are proposing to have 10 chapters plus annexes covering all the sectors of the GHG inventory, plus the other elements that are needed according to the MPGs. Before closing, I wanted to give you a glimpse of the template. So as I told you, it's nearly 300 pages long. So I won't go through the 300 pages, but I just want to show you more or less how it looks, the template. This is the English version. And as you can see, it's a Word document. It has, like some space for you to put your own data, the country, which authors are for each of the chapters. There is a predefined table of contents. But of course, as you know, if you are deleting some elements and you update the table of contents, the table will follow your own contents. No, so there is a list of acronyms that is predefined that if you have additional, you just need to put at the end. And as you may see, even includes some proposals of tables and figures that each country can include, modify. For instance, this is a diagram of the national inventory system. So you have your own diagram. You can replace this one with your own graphs. No, as I mentioned, there is these tables, and as I commented also, this explain which provision in this contents is included, which MPG provision is included in each of the sections and subsections of the final version of the template. So stop sharing and ready to answer any questions you may have. Over to you, Keltum.
Thank you very much, Fernando, for this overview. I would like to open the floor for your questions and interactions about the templates.
Actions, yes. Right. Yes.
Okay.
I found.
Noor,
Hi.
please go ahead.
Yes.
Hi,
Hi.
Noor.
How are you? Hi. How are you? I will ask you if you think this would be applicable in Jordan here, this modality or template.
Yeah, for sure. For sure, it's applicable to all countries, developing and developing countries. So all developing countries can use this template.
Okay, thank you.
We can have an overview during the in-country supports in July, inshallah, Noor, in Jordan.
Inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. So I'm going to see if we have any questions here. Webinar that will be happening in May. How we can attend, please? Which webinar? What is the difference between NID and NIR? National Inventory
NID,
Documents.
Yeah,
go
the
ahead,
NID
please.
NID is the National Inventory Document, and the NIR is the National Inventory Report. The National Inventory Report is like the umbrella which contains both the National Inventory Document and the tables, the Excel tables with the numbers. So that is the difference, no? When we talk about National Inventory Report, we are referring to the document plus the tables.
Yes. Thank you very much, Fernando. Do we have any other interaction? Did you hear me? No, actually, Mr. Said, go ahead. We can't hear you. Mr. Said, you can, if you have any problem, you can just write down your question in the chat. Okay. So I guess in this case, we can move to the second session. Thank you very much, Fernando, for all the supports that you are providing. We are very, very honored by your presence and support to the MENA region. And I guess now we can move to the second.
There is a still question, Keltum.
Where?
Mrs. Samia Ben Musa has a question.
Okay. What is it?
Thank you for the session, and thank you, Ms. Fernando, for the presentation. It's so interesting. I have just one question. For the National Inventory Report, we can do separately or to integrate in the BTR. This template, we can use it if we do it separately because we need more details, or we can also utilize when we integrate in our BTR. And thank you so much.
This is a good, thank you, Samia. This is a very good question. We made the template as flexible to can be used in both situations. So if you want to present a separate national inventory document, this is the template is good. But if you want to present only as a chapter, you can delete more elements into the template and you can present it as a chapter. So the two options are covered, and it depends on if you delete more or less elements into the template.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. Please, where we can find the document exactly for the
Yeah, as I
template?
mentioned in May, I think in early May, we will conduct a webinar, and in this webinar, the document will be available for everyone. So you will be able to download it from the web page, or Keltum can guide you on how to get it. So
Of course.
this is like an advance of the May situation. Okay.
Yeah, I
Thank
will
you.
share it once it's approved by the team. I will share it with all of our network, inshallah. Okay.
Hello.
Mr. Saad, تفضل. Hello, Mr. Saad.
Okay now?
Yeah, we can hear
Okay.
you.
Assalamu alaikum. And very
Walaikum
good
salam wa
afternoon, good
rahmatullah.
morning for all of you. And sorry for I have some trouble issues in IT to have the speaker, and it's been working. Again, I would like to express my thanks to all of you for such, presentation. What has been highlighted by Mr. Fernando is very, very important. Actually, we can consider what I will highlight here as an advice, or we can have your opinion in that regard. As you know, the data collection and verification is one of the most significant challenge, especially when it came in such transparency reporting organization. So they must have and collect amount of information across various operational area. So, like including energy consumption, waste generation, water use, and so on. So, with such a huge data that will be reflected, in such a template, might appear or have some error. It came on that template. For such challenging of collecting that huge data, I'm not sure if any experience or lesson learned or best practice by utilizing the AI, that will help to minimizing the error for such data collect and reflected on that template. So this is what it came in my mind just to be highlight and to get your thought about it, my colleague. Thank you again.
Yeah, Doctor said, I appreciate your question. I have two answers for this. The first answer is the CBIT-GSP project is able to provide quality assurance to the reports prepared by countries. So in the case of your country, you would like to have like a human QA. We can do this, and Keltum can coordinate with your country on how to do it. Regarding the use of artificial intelligence, I think it's the future. I think it's what must be used in the near future, but we don't have experiences of using artificial intelligence for reviewing the quality of the documents. I think that UNFCCC is exploring ways to use artificial intelligence, but I think everything is an early stage. I do think, however, that we must use artificial intelligence for this kind of documents in the future.
Thank you, Mr. Fernando. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Saad. Thank you for everyone. I think for now we can move to the second session. Okay, thank you very much. So in this session, we will see together how can we establish a sustainable arrangements for national inventory system following the MPGs. So just to quickly introduce institutional arrangements. Institutional arrangements refer to the policies, systems, and processes that organizations implement to govern, to plan, and to manage their activities efficiently. So these arrangements also can facilitate coordination among institutions, also enable them to collaborate effectively and meet their commitments. So institutional arrangements also must be designed to each country's unique context, which means that there is no one size fits all model, but it should be designed based on your national circumstances, taking into consideration your existing systems, your priorities, your capacities, your experience with climate reporting, and also the resources and data availability. Here, just to talk a little bit about the background. So as we all know, with the shift from the MRV system to the Enhanced Transparency Framework and their Paris agreements, institutional arrangements are considered more critical than ever. Why? And especially for developing countries, because now we must regularly submit our BTRs, and even with the flexibility offered, there is always an expectation of continuous improvement. You know, from the TACCC, we have improvement over time. So now we need all have a robust institutional arrangements, including clear rules, coordination, resources, everything to meet our international commitments, and also to guide our decision makers. So according to the MPGs, in each chapter in the BTR, we need to report in the first section on national circumstances and institutional arrangements. So this is, you can find it in all BTRs already submitted. For GHG inventory specifically, each party should implement and maintain their national inventory arrangements. And these arrangements can reflect, for example, the specific national circumstances. So countries have the flexibility to design their system that work best for them. And also following the same guidance or MPGs, each party must report on key functions related to the GHG planning, preparation, management. And these include identifying the national entity or your focal point, who is, for example, responsible for overseeing the inventory, describing the inventory preparation process, including rules, responsibilities, and also explaining the archiving system that you are using for your inventory data. And here we are not just talking about emission factors and activity data, but also about all your supporting documentation, how data was generated, your quality assurance, quality control procedures, etc. And finally, countries are expected also to describe their processes of their official approval, which means the final approval and consideration by the government of that report. According to the same MPGs, when establishing institutional arrangements, each party shall ask itself some principal questions about, first of all, how they will implement the Paris Agreement, which organizations will be involved in this implementation. Is there a need to establish a regulatory framework, for example, to support data sharing, information collection, etc.? And what types of arrangements could be established among stakeholders? And also, what type of information management system can be developed in the country? Just very quickly, why do we need our system and institutional arrangement to be strong? because first of all, they will ensure a continuous stream of high quality data and information necessary for reporting. They will support us in the improvement over time. They will also provide national decision makers with some updates information on climate progress and our climate ambitions, etc. In addition, because we need to ensure a kind of interaction between organizations that are already involved in the GG inventory preparation. So we are talking from the inputs, compilation process, and outputs. And this, of course, could include sectoral ministries or agencies, academic and research institutes, private sector and organizations, and experts or external consultants. Here, just very quickly, a step-by-step process for setting up and adapting institutional arrangements for GG inventory system. The first phase is scoping. So we need to start by defining what the inventory system needs to do, first of all. Then review what's already in place, who is already involved, and what data exists and where the gaps are. Then we can move to the second phase, which is identifying key stakeholders and mandates. So we need to map out the institutional landscape to find a high-level champion who is responsible to support the whole process and to secure, and that's a very, very important point, to secure the political buy-in. Also, he will be like in charge of setting up the coordination mechanism that brings together like key ministries and data providers, and also define clear rules and the responsibilities and the communication channels to make it work. The third phase is developing systems and agreements. So with rules clarified, we need to formalize the system. We need to develop an implementation plan with some timelines and responsibilities. You may also here need, for example, a legal or regulatory framework for data sharing, for example. And also, we need to build structures for a long-term success. So now we are talking about sustainability of the system, which means we need to maintain trainings, knowledge management, KYC systems, etc. And especially for the GG inventory, the use of IPCC software is very, very useful. And the last phase is review and improvements. So we must set up a process that ensure a sustainable and regular review and updates so that the system can evolve with time and according to new technologies or, for example, new requirements. So this is for the first step, which is to set clear objectives for your GG inventory. Obviously, I think mostly we will all agree that GG inventory system will help us to meet international reporting needs, but also it can support national climate policies, reporting, some interests and objectives of stakeholders, etc. So you need to have clear goals which will help you to define what's needed, who does what, and when. It also guides data needs, capacity, and timelines. So we recommend you to set up like a simple table listing your objectives with responsible institutions, with deadlines, outputs, and any legal or policy links. And this is actually what you can see here. This is an example from UK GG inventory objectives. So they are set in a table with numerous or various objectives. The first objective here is UNFCCC annual reporting. obviously, of course, and then national statistics, environmental accounts. The third objective is European Union monitoring mechanism regulation, national carbon budgets, and for each of them, they are setting gases, sectors involved, geographic resolution, time series, reporting frequency, if it's annual, biannual, every 4 years or 5 years. For example, the national disseminated contribution for every 5 years, and also the reporting format. Reporting format, it means the outputs. So every time when I'm talking about outputs, it means database or reporting format. So one of the key first steps to take into consideration when we are setting up our institutional arrangements is to create a system structure diagram. And this helps clarify rules and responsibilities and will give us a kind of clear picture of how the GHG system is organized. So here an example which starts with a steering committee at the top. The steering committee has as a priority to ensure the inventory meets both national and international needs. So it's the high level committee of direction. And then just after we have the single national entity or SNE, which can be the, for example, the ministry or agency in charge of the whole process and final reporting. And in, I think, the majority of countries, it's the Ministry of Environment or Agency of Protection, Environment Protection, something like this. Then management coordination team. So the management coordination team, they handle day-to-day operations. So they manage the work plan, they support data collection, they ensure the KYC procedures, and also they drive improvements over time. And then we can have sectoral compilation experts who are technical specialists by sectors, like from energy, from IPPU, from AFLU, from waste, who develop the estimates and often spread across different institutions. And then we have data providers. Data providers are we can say the basis. So they are agencies, organizations that supply the needed data. And this is a very critical step for the whole system. Yes, so to have like a functional GHG inventory system, we need two main components. The first one is coordination organization, usually a government agency or ministry that leads the process and ensure compliance. And then we have the implementing organizations that handle, like, for example, data collection, sectoral estimates, and the KYC. We have also different structural models. For example, it can be centralized, one entity does all of the work, or decentralized, so we have multiple institutions who are sharing tasks, or mixed. We have data is provided across entities, but the compilation process is centrally. And I think this is the most common format in the MENA region. Systems also can be even internal by government staff or outsourced by, for example, external consultants. And maybe sector-wide or split by sector. So they can also be integrated into national systems or operated like independently. So here just a very quick example from Ghana institutional arrangements. So they have their provider of data provider, data exchange, and then sectors involved in or such of sectoral coordinators, and then the compilation process, the key AKC, and uncertainty, and also the documentation and archiving is by the Agency of Environment. And then we have the inventory coordinator, the national designated GHG inventory entity, and the approval by the ministry. So to be better prepared for the implementation of your institutional arrangements, parties would need a regularly and reliable flow of information and data. So as we already mentioned, there is no one size fits all models, but each institutional arrangement needs to include these 5 common elements. I'm talking about the organizational mandates, which means your stakeholders, rules, and responsibilities, expertise and technical capacities, data flows and data providers, and systems and tools. And the last elements and the more important is stakeholder engagement and ownership. So for the first component is having clear organizational mandates, knowing who the stakeholders and what is their role and responsibilities. And also, since multiple institutions are often involved, it's important here to define each one's task and with the timeline, of course. So sometimes one organization may handle multiple rules based on their national capacities, and sometimes it's divided, as we saw previously. One of the most important points to mention here is that when we want to ensure a long-term functionality of our institutional arrangements, we need to make sure to have a kind of MOUs and contracts and agreements. This will clarify expectations and foster commitments from all the stakeholders. So here, when we talk about rules and responsibilities in the GHG inventory system, the system involves many stakeholders and data providers, ministries, experts, and sometimes we have one organization who could take on multiple rules. So to keep the system sustainable and clearly defined and documents each stakeholder's rules. So we need to have a mapping of our stakeholders with their rules, with their interests, with their timelines. And ideally, this could be handled by like putting some terms of references for each stakeholder. It's also crucial here to remember that while work is the responsibility of some individuals who are working in some institutions, but institutions still responsible, and they must ensure that the staff are well trained to ensure the ongoing work. So, for example, institutions needs to be to make sure that they are putting the right people in the right place. So, developing and maintaining lists of stakeholders with their rules, responsibilities, and interests is very important. And here we are advising you to implement this information in a tabular format. As you can see here, according to the IPCC guidelines of 2019. Here a table example that we can use for this purpose. For example, the name of the focal points, organization, his contacts, mandates, engagement activities, sector, rule, etc., etc. It's very important to have this kind of paper for each of our stakeholders. Expertise. So the second component of institutional arrangement is expertise. So for a sustainable GHG inventory system, you need a team of national experts who are capable of sustainably gathering and processing and analyzing data. And ideally here, the team should not only have the technical skills needed, but also access to the relevant training materials. For example, now we are talking about MPGs, so I can say the majority are not very aware about all the flexibility provisions that can be provided, that can be used by our countries, for example. And also over time, the goal is for the country to engage less on external consultants and strengthen their internal expertise, which means we need to engage in enhancing capacities of people who are working in our ministries and departments, and who can deal with all of these tasks independently, so we can create a certain independence to external consultants. Data flows. The third key component of institutional arrangements is data flows, which includes both the data sets themselves and data providers. So to have a good GHG inventory, you need regular and consistent data flows. And this could start with clearly defining what data is needed, how it will be used, and identifying also the relevant data provider across your different stakeholders. It's also here crucial to manage the delivery of these data sets, making sure that they are received on time. So we need to respect our timelines and in the right format and also in the right sources. And of course, this will help us to build a sustainable system and improve the quality of this data and reduce uncertainty over time. The second type is the systems and tools. So this refers to all the technical infrastructure needed to support your inventory process. So we are talking about systems or database used for collecting, for updating, for analyzing, for managing data, and even for archiving data. And archiving data is one of the most important steps. For example, this could be your online MRV or transparency platform, digital platform, the use of IPCC software, which is very important, especially now with the CERTIs, and also your quality assurance and quality control procedures, and even modeling tools for example, making projections, because we will need them when preparing, for example, our indices, updating our indices, or even when we are ready to report on projections in the PTR. Stakeholders. One of the key components of institutional arrangements is stakeholder engagement, such as data providers, sectoral ministries, technical experts and decision makers, etc. And engagement means here more than just communication, because we're talking about involving and setting up regular coordination, using tools to support decision makers, and also to organize technical meetings, working groups, etc., etc. In conclusion, strong institutional arrangements can help us to ensure timely and sustainable international reporting, to provide data for policy development, to secure also political buy-in, to improve access to the international support, which can be financial or technical, and even to increase stakeholder awareness and ownership and political buy-in, and of course, enhance our technical capacities and expertise. That's all from my side. And this, just for more details, you can have a look into the CGE handbook on institutional arrangements. There you will find like some case studies and examples from different countries. And you can, of course, download that from our climate transparency platform using the link here. So once we share material with you, please take a look at this guide. And thank you very much for your attention. That's all from my side. Now I would like to open the floor for your questions and interaction. Okay, Dr. Said. Saeed.
Yes, thank you again, Ms. Khartoum, really for the excellent presentation and excellent, information been sharing. Really, it is valuable for us. And I would like just to highlight 2 points here. When the first one, when I saw the timeline, you have been divided in, I think, 4 phases, if not mistake. So, what's the first question? What's the duration for each phases, including all of the activities? So it's been divided, or it will be related the parties or countries to define the each timeline for those phases. This is the first question. Second one, when I look to the role and responsibility related the GHG, it is a matter of think or advise. It will be possible to use the RASI matrix, which is responsible, accountable, consultant, and inform. So while defining or put that matrix, it will be more clear in terms from each task being highlighted in this matter. So this is my question, and thank you again for being answering.
Thank you very much, Mr. Said. So as I mentioned before, when I talked about timelines, it means it depends on your requirements. For example, the BTR should be like reported every 2 years. So we need to ensure that all of these steps be done like and have the output, which is our report, which is our database, which is also our certies, done by the end of the year, for example. So it depends. Sometimes to put your institutional arrangements from zero, it may take like 3 years. It may take 2 years. Yes, it may take like a while. But if you have already everything set up, then the steps to like to generate data, to collect data, to compile, to calculate, and to prepare the report would be easier. So the first thing to think about and to take into consideration is that we need to implement and to put everything on table first, the basis, which is we need to implement our institutional arrangement. We need to define our rule, our objectives and goals. We need to define our stakeholders involved. We need to have that diagram of our institutional arrangements. We need also to take into consideration all regular, all legal framework needed. Like for example, sometimes you need a law, sometimes you need a decree, sometimes, for example, you need also some MOUs and agreements with stakeholders, and all this process may takes like a lot of time. So it needs to be like taken into consideration and established step by step. And we need also to take into consideration that this kind of process can be improved over time, so no rush. And about the timeline, really it depends on the approval, official approval, on the ministries, on the commitments, on response that we are getting from other stakeholders, if they are engaged, if they are aware about the importance of this institutional arrangements and their commitments and ownership. So it's really, it depends on national circumstances. For the second question about rules and responsibilities, yes, you can use any matrix you want, but one thing which is very important is to make sure that you are putting or setting up a kind of a table which will help you to have like a map for every stakeholder. And I want here to highlight one of the good experiences in the MENA is the one of Egypt. So Egypt, for example, they are not having just a sectoral coordinator from each ministry, but actually they created a kind of climate units. So they have a climate unit in each sector, in energy, in agriculture, in transport, everything. So even when one of the team leaves, for example, the ministry, they will also find someone to have the whole data, like, for example, data memory and archiving. They will also find a team who could help them to ensure that the system will be sustainable. And that's one of the very important things. And I think Egypt is doing very well because they thought about creating this kind of climate unit in their government. Thank you very much, Mr. Saeed. I hope I answered your question. Fernando, do you have any other information that you would like to highlight? Okay, Mohammed Magdi. تفضل Mohammed.
Yes, thank you for your presentation, Kulsoom. My question, in absence of a regulatory framework to comply or submit a regular data on timely basis, what considered to be the optimal solution or optimal arrangement to get this data? As you know, the challenge point that in Egypt, we don't have a regulatory framework to comply or to submit the data on a periodic basis.
Yeah, that's exactly what I just said. So when we don't have a regulatory and legal framework, because this kind of documents or papers takes very long time to be approved. Like, for example, in Morocco, I remember that since 2 years we're working on the climate change law, and it's still struggling. So the approval may take a while. So this is why actually we need to focus on having a kind of agreement with all of the stakeholders, like MOUs, like like a letter from the president or from the minister of environment, creating some groups, some committees, so we can establish our institutional arrangement without having like a strong regulatory framework. So we can, like, for example, just sign some agreements, some MOUs with other data providers, and that could work, actually. That could help you. Okay, Negla from Sudan. تفضلي نجلة.
Okay, thank you very much, Kulthum. Was very comprehensive presentation and very informative, excellent work. I mean, 2 points, very few. One of the default factor and default information. This is very big challenge here in Sudan, using the default, but we need to improvement the data and national data, not using the default data. My question, what about improving this data through the project or work in nationally, because it's very, very big challenge here in the GHG inventory. And the second questions in the institutional arrangement for the MRV. We should different institution to compile the information about the GHG. Which should any institution establish the MRV unit, or one unit in national focal point, and small unit here in different institution to collection data, and the MRV in one office here in national data. What's the better experience in this job here? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nagla. Thank you. That's a very good point. Unfortunately, when we don't have data available from stakeholders, this will lead you to use what you have, because to help them like provide data and gather data and create data and produce it, it can be hard work for the Ministry of Environment, but you can go step by step. And it's the responsibility of each sector to give you that data. So I think in this situation, you just like use what you have and use as much as you can of flexibilities, and if improvements will come over time. Given the national circumstances and technical expertise, so maybe we need some more time to to make sure that all data is provided, and even to have the technical capacity and the financial support to gather this data. So all organizations, I think it depends on their skills, on their scope of intervention, can help the country in that. But for example, NDC partnership on NDC implementation, for example, like us for transparency, other organizations like ICAT, UNDP, UNEP, a lot of them, and FAO also make sure that FAO help you in your AFLU and LULUCF sector, because they have now the CBIT AFLU project, which is really a great opportunity to take advantage from for all of the countries from MENA, and they are very interested to support all of the countries, especially because we know that for AFLU and LULUCF, it may be like sometimes very complicated to get all of the data, land use, and I don't know, I'm not expert on that, but we encountered some of the challenges with some countries in having these data. For the MRV system, so we have two kind of MRV system that I can say they are very good examples. One is from Tunisia. Tunisia is actually implementing like I think 3 or 4 systems, MRV systems, one on GHG inventory, the other one on NDC tracking, the other one on financial support, and they are making sure to link all the data generated from these MRV system to be like included and archived in their national MRV system. So this is how, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is how they are dealing with this reporting requirements. And the MRV system is actually a database that's where you can archive your information, where you can also manage your information, and where you can update it. So it's very important in your MRV system to take into consideration not only GHG inventory, and please take care of that, because now we're not talking only about GHG inventory. Even if this webinar series is about GHG inventory, but even in your institutional arrangement, don't take into consideration only GHG inventory, because for now we have also the indices tracking, which is a chapter and the information required under the BTR. We have also support needed and received, and especially support needed. So we need to enhance our capacities in like sharing and in having and collecting the data to make a better BTR. The second type of MRV, the MRV in Morocco. So MRV in Morocco, they have three components in their MRV. One part is about GHG inventory. The second part is about NDC tracking, and then the support needed and received. And now they are actually working under the CBIT project on integrating also a section for adaptation monitoring and evaluation, and also another section for tracking the cooperative approaches and international mitigation outcomes transferred under or as stipulated by Article 6.2. So it's very good, a good example of MRV system. So the idea is that they have the national coordinator, which is someone from the Ministry of Environment, and they have a lot of sectoral coordinators. And each sectoral coordinator has his team working with him in his departments or sectoral departments, and they need to provide him with data, and he is the one responsible for approving that data and confirming that data into the platform. And then the platform or the national coordinator, which is responsible of complying the reports, will have access to that data. And this is facilitating a lot of like steps and a lot of work and time-consuming tasks. So the ministry received the data via the MRV system. I think I answered you, Nagla, but just to announce that right after this webinar series, we're organizing one on MRV system, where we will invite some stakeholders, some organizations and partners to represent their tools, to represent their MRV system, and also we will invite some countries from MENA and outside of MENA to share their experience. Thank you very much, Nagla. I don't think if we have any other question. And I guess in this case, yes. In this case, please welcome with me, guys, Noura. Welcome with me, guys, Noura and Sarah from the ministry from Saudi Arabia, who will be sharing the experience about their institutional arrangements and their inventory system. First of all, thank you very much, guys. Thank you for Noura and Sarah for being so like committed and very, very cooperative. And thank you for like facilitating all the work with Saudi Arabia. We are doing a very good work together, and thank you for accepting being with us today. It's a great pleasure to have you. Over to you.
Thank you, Kaltoum. I'm just going to organize some technical issues here to be able to share the screen.
Yes, yes, take your time, Sarah. We still have time, actually.
Okay, that's good. Okay, good afternoon or good morning, everyone, wherever you are. Assuming we are in the same time zone. It's always exciting to work with you, CBIT's MENA team, and we're more than happy to be sharing our experience in institutional arrangement and inventory process preparation process for Saudi Arabia. So the designated national authority, which was established in 2009 with initially to exercise Kyoto Protocol's clean development mechanism, but its mandate expanded afterwards to become also and to be considered also the kingdom's implementing arm under the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. First, we are the entity responsible for fulfilling the kingdom's reporting obligations, whether under the MRV system or the Enhanced Transparency Framework of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and the Paris Agreement. Second, the DNA is tasked with preparing and updating the kingdom's nationally determined contribution, NDC, under the Paris Agreement. Third, we serve as the regulatory body for carbon management in the kingdom, including launching and operationalizing the domestic greenhouse gas crediting and offsetting mechanism. And also the DNA is actively engages and coordinates with regional and international entities on relevant climate-related topics, whether that is in negotiations in forums like the United Nations or the UNFCCC, IPCC or IMO, or in global forums such as the CTCN. So the DNA is a committee composed of approximately 25 members from government, semi-governmental, and private sector entities, representing the majority of sectors active in the kingdom. For example, we have representatives from the Ministry of Industry, the Ministry of Environment, Water and Agriculture, and others. And the committee is chaired by the Ministry of Energy. And I'll hand over to my colleague Noura, the sustainability expert, to walk you through the inventory preparation process.
Thank you. Thank you, Saha. And firstly, I wanted to thank Kaltoum for your kind words. We have had the pleasure of working alongside the CBIT team multiple times, and the work done by the CBIT is of high importance, and it's greatly appreciated. So back to our presentation. As Sarah presented, we have quite a large and extensive mandate within the DNA. However, the transparency team is relatively small, where we only have about 4 team members that are fully dedicated to transparency-related work. So because of this limited capacity, it makes it even more important for us to have an efficient and systematic approach for preparing our greenhouse gas inventories and fulfilling our reporting obligations. So to manage this, we established a structured system for preparing our national inventory documents, our national inventory reports, based on the legacy system that is existent within the DNA for the MRV. Of course, with the additional requirements of the ETF, our system has required some updates and continues to need and undergo further developments, which we will go into later in the presentation. So to start off, our inventory process is built on strong collaboration with national entities, which is something that Kaltoum had mentioned in her previous session about the need for strong collaboration. We work closely with our committee members, which are government ministries, semi-governmental organizations, private sector entities that are relevant to different sectors of emissions and sinks within the kingdom. So what do we do when we prepare our inventory process? It has several major steps, as many of you here know. First of all, what we do is we identify all of the necessary data sources. So this means we carefully determine what activity data is needed for each IPCC source category and subsector following the 2006 IPCC guidelines. Based on this, we prepare a detailed list of all of the relevant ministries and organizations to make sure that every key data point is accounted for. After that, we develop sector-specific questionnaires and forms. These are not just some generic templates. They are customized based on the activity data that is required from each entity. So let's say, for example, we are reaching out to the Ministry of Industry. The form will request data specific to their needs. For example, we will request data on industrial energy use, manufacturing emissions. We would not be asking questions related to, for example, agriculture or forestry. This sector-specific approach helps us in reducing confusion, it ensures more accurate data submissions, and it speeds up our data collection process. After we finalize these sector-specific questionnaires, we distribute them to the identified stakeholders. After that, our team actively follows up with the data providers. As many of you here know, this is a very tiresome step, and it can take quite some time. So to ensure timely and complete submissions, we assign specific team members to specific entities and to address any ambiguities, any inconsistency in the responses. After we collect the data, we systematically tabulate it, which means organizing the data in accordance to categories consistent with IPCC guidelines, allowing us to perform initial checks for data completeness, data accuracy, and data consistency across all sectors. So for the calculation of the emissions and removals, we primarily rely on methodologies that are recommended by the 2006 IPCC guidelines. We apply appropriate activity data and emission factors to estimate emissions for each category. And these estimates are then aggregated across sectors to give us the national anthropogenic emissions and removals. So with this step, we are done with our initial steps between us and our committee members, and we go into our internal carbon management process. So initially, much of our calculation work was actually conducted using Excel spreadsheets. However, because of the expanded scope of the enhanced transparency framework, we have begun transitioning to greater use of the IPCC inventory software. Because this tool is fully interoperable with the CRTs or the common reporting tables, this helps us better meet the new reporting requirements. All of the data, all of the input data and the emission estimates are then stored in a web-based tool that we have, an internal web-based tool called the Carbon Management System. This helps us keep stock of all of the data that we have. Finally, before submitting our reports, the inventory undergoes a comprehensive QA/QC process. This step includes internal reviews, consistency checks, recalculations if needed, and verification of the data sources and any of the assumptions used. Through this established and structured approach, we ensure that our GHG inventories are prepared in a way that is transparent, accurate, complete, consistent, and comparable. So with this, we have done a quick run through our inventory preparation process. And despite having an established system and process, as everyone here knows, this is still a very complicated and challenging process, which is why I will hand it back to my colleague Sarah to walk us through the different challenges we face in our inventory preparation process and what we have done and how we have approached these different issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Nora. So as we continue to improve and refine our national inventory process, as Nora just mentioned, we do face a few key challenges that we are actively addressing. One of the primary challenges we face is data gaps. Despite having a clear system for data collection, certain sectors or entities may not have readily available or updated data, which can delay our reporting process. Additionally, even when data is available, we often encounter delayed responses from some ministries or organizations. This can be due to many factors, including internal priorities, resource constraints, or simply the complexity of the data being requested. To mitigate this, we are working on improving communication channels and increasing awareness about the importance of timely data submission for accurate national reporting. Another significant challenge is limited capacity development within some of the institutions responsible for providing data. Many ministries and organizations do not yet have the necessary expertise or resources to fully support the data collection and calculation process required by the enhanced transparency framework. We are addressing this challenge by providing targeted training, workshops, and technical support to these entities, helping to build their capacity to meet reporting requirements. Another key challenge as well as we face is time and resource constraints, especially given that the transparency team within the DNA is relatively small, with only 4 dedicated staff members who are, by the way, with me in the room right now. We often need to juggle multiple responsibilities while adhering to tight reporting deadlines. This challenge is further compounded by the evolving complexity of reporting under the Paris Agreement, which requires additional tools and methodologies. To overcome this, we are focusing currently on streamlining our workflows, investing in digitalization and software tools to reduce manual effort, and enhancing coordination with other stakeholders to share the workload effectively, while also ensuring that our process is adaptive to the evolving UNFCCC reporting obligations. As you know, the transition from the MRV system to the ETF poses a challenge, as it requires incorporating new elements and processes expected of us as a developing country. And with that, we covered Saudi Arabia's institution arrangements and its inventory process. Thank you, everyone, for your attention. And back to you, Kulthum.
Thank you very much, Sarah and Nora, for this very important and valuable presentation. It's very clear and very beautiful too. So thank you very much for sharing your valuable experience. It seems that Saudi Arabia is one of the advanced countries in terms of institutional arrangements for GHG inventory. So Nora and Sarah, be ready. We will invite you more and more to share your experience in other sessions. Thank you very much. And now I would like to open the floor for questions and interactions. Please, colleagues, if you have any questions for Saudi Arabia, please go ahead. Maybe, yes. Please go ahead if you want to more clarification of you, or you have any questions for our colleagues. I guess the presentation was very clear. This is why. Okay. So then I would like to thank Sarah and to thank Nora. really يعني من القلب شكرا جزيلا. It's a big pleasure to have you here, and it's a big pleasure to continue working with you. So with Saudi Arabia, I would like to announce that we are developing a guide on response measures together, inshallah, and we are very serious about it. So hopefully we will have like a very good guidance that will help countries to report and to monitor and assess their response measures. Thank you very much, Sarah and Nora. And now I would like to go through the last session, which is our mentee for your feedback. So please, guys, join us scanning the QR code, or you can go to menti.com and then enter the code 898312970. So this is the end of our webinar series, all these 3 days, and I hope it was like fruitful. It was good, and we could answer some of the questions that you have, and from where you are joining us today. We have Saudi Arabia, we have Egypt, Morocco, KSA, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, Oman. We have also Sudan. We have also Jordan. So I remember some names. Tunisia, welcome. I think it's Samia. Oman, Somalia, thank you very much, guys, for joining us today. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, thank you very much for joining. It's a great pleasure to work with all of you. Please indicate your gender. So we have 5 males, females, 8. It's almost 50-50. It's almost 50%. Okay, so 11. How satisfied are you with all of these technical webinars that we had during? Oh, nice. Very satisfied. 11. Thank you very much for that. This is why I'm happy to work with you. We have 5 satisfied. It's a great pleasure. Was this event useful for your work? Is it yes, no, or imports? We have 10 yes, 12, 14, 17 yes, and 3 imports. And what was the most useful that you will take away from this webinar? I would say inventory planning, or the helpful resources listed, presentations, inventory, institutional arrangement, lessons learned, institutional arrangement, slides, data management collection, inventory, and some others, institutional arrangements on KAKC, everything, inventory institution. That's we are pleased to hear that from you guys. And with that, I would like to say thank you very much for joining us today. And thank you for the valuable contribution from all countries, for the discussion, for making these events successful. It's because of you. And inshallah, see you very soon, maybe in 2 weeks. We are organizing now for a webinar series on MRV system. So we will try to have some other partners and organizations as CITEPA, as UNDP, sharing their transparency platform, and also GGI with us. Thank you very much, guys, and have a nice day. And thank you, Sarah and Noura, again for joining.
Thank you very much, Kulthum. It's always a pleasure, as I just mentioned, to be working with you.
Thank you very much. It's the same. It's a great pleasure.
Hello, Khartoum.
Hello, Abdulaziz.
Yeah, but you forget national communication presentation.
Yes, inshallah. Inshallah, we will organize something especially for the national communication presentation, because obviously, just to clarify something, when we talk about national communication and BTR, it's almost the same. That's just the difference between is that national communication we need to report for 4 days, 4 years, and then BTR for 2 years. But there is some slight some differences that we can highlight in one webinar or of course in your in-country supports. I will keep in touch with Hafsa to discuss this, inshallah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Abdulaziz.
Have a good day.